Thank you very much. Other principal officers, professors, and other heads of departments and colleagues in the Faculty of Arts, Director of Works too. Please, you are most heartily welcome to the Faculty of Arts, which I think, by the grace of God, is the first faculty in any university, because everyone who has a PhD would have got it from philosophy department, which is located in the Faculty of Arts. Because PhD is Doctor of Philosophy, whether agri, science or whatever. So we really, so you are welcome to where you all started from. Yes. We really, so we really thank the VC and his team for bringing up this faculty. In fact, this shows wisdom, bringing it up very early in the schedule of places to faculties to visit. We've been very anxiously waiting for this opportunity, and there's a bit of a coincidence here, in the sense that I had earlier sent a note to heads of department to put together all their major achievements and needs, so that we work out a courtesy call on the VC. So this process was on when the letter came from administration that the VC he went ahead of us to visit us. So it's a very good coincidence. In fact, the response that we are getting actually is even to the earlier one I wrote, asking for the pressing needs of the faculty. And sir, let me say that although you have come with your very wonderful team, I didn't mention Bossa, so that means I haven't started, but that's where it ends up. So Bossa too. Yes. So eventually, sir, we will still make our support, because we already put the process on. For now, it's as you were told, this is just a place to say welcome to our faculty. There's a larger place where we are going to meet, bigger space, and more faces to see, faces that have been looking forward to seeing their Vice Chancellor. So you are welcome, sir. And,
very good. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. I was in church.
The net for this board, which is like a box line, and then a 42 inches screen that beams international rules for students, and then the timers that indicate different time zones in the world for each student, and then with the system, we used to have about 10 computer systems here, so that the students can have access to international news and process them. So all those things.
We reported formality.
Yes, it was reported.
Was the panel set up?
A panel was set up.
Who headed the panel?
I just inherited the liabilities 2 months ago. This place is almost collapsing, it's leaking. The entire studio is red. So if it rains now, we're all out of it. Listen, let me move you to the studio for students. What we don't have, I've listed them here to enable us. I have contacted the National Broadcasting Commission for them. This is the live studio, but we don't have recording studio because our space was, we were supposed to give the 2 classrooms we were supposed to use to pharmacy for accreditation. After that, by the time we got back, we just discovered that the thing had been padlocked and taken over by Fine and Industrial Act, and they perpetually sealed the place up. And one of
were they allocated or they took over?
We had no idea. We were visually allocated this entire building, but as it stands, the Faculty of Arts has no classroom because they used to use Communication Lecture Hall. The 2 classrooms have been taken over. Now the faculty has no lecture hall. Our students.
Is it the finance here? Okay, that's the faculty. Okay.
So we had applied for TV coming that we said no. Since the radio station is Uniuyo Radio, then the TV on YouTube should be Uniuyo TV. So I'm sure we'll work on it this week and change it to Uniuyo TV on YouTube because we want to start having Vice Chancellor's diary so that all your programs and activities of the university will be beamed to the world through the Uniuyo TV on YouTube. And my team said we should not fight it to report.
Let's show the.
Right. And the time starts now.
It's when they start, no noise because the microphone is only directional.
You see this on that? Use anything. This is for your feedback. If you're just joining us, this is Uniuyo 100.7 FM, and we are paying host to one of our very own, very distinguished personality right here on Uniuyo 100.7 FM. My name is Jimmy Jackson, and we are happy and we're excited to play host to the Vice Chancellor of this great institution in the person of Professor Yaudo Upabio Dayo. He's the very first alumnus of this particular institution who got his appointment on the very 1st of December 2020, and he's here with us. He's here to grace us. He's the first Vice Chancellor, for your records, to be here live on radio on Uniuyo 100.7 FM. Good morning, sir, and welcome to Uniuyo 100.7.
Good morning.
Okay. All right, sir. First, let's look at the University of Uniuyo in entirety. What we have to say to the university community.
Well, thank you very much. We know the University of Uniuyo is a brand, and the vision, the mission of any Vice Chancellor, as in this case myself, to sustain and even improve upon the vision and the mission that will continue to sustain University of Uniuyo as a great university.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. You've talked about sustaining the mission and the vision of this university. First, let's still, take you upon that one, especially looking at the realities of the university education, the peculiarity in the university.
Yes, actually, 2020 was eye-opener for all of us, including those of us in education. That we don't have to really depend on the visual teaching, interaction, direct interaction, and physical interaction with students. Because when the COVID was on, some other universities outside the nation, some of them were still on having lectures, doing their normal academic activities. So we are also trying to see how we can key into it, which explains why we put in place a committee to look at possibility of how we're going virtual too, at least if not in all the courses, in some of the courses. So they have submitted their reports, We are trying to extract the report and see those we can implement immediately and those who may have to wait for a while before we implement them. So basically, we want to go the direction the world is going, virtual learning.
Okay, virtual learning. The Vice Chancellor, I know that you just wanted to talk to us a few minutes, but before we let you go, a final word to the students of the institution and to the level staff of this institution.
Well, I will let me summarize this way. You don't see just by saying the day you see, the other you see. That's what we cannot see. So rather than that, we try to look at those challenges, address them, and so that we put a smile on the faces of the students and the lecturers and the staff of the university.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It was a nice privilege having in person the Vice Chancellor of the University of Uyo talking about Professor Yawudo Ndayo right here in our studios. And sir, we hope we'll find time to come speak to us.
Yes, I will. But that's one of the reasons that I'm here, to see some of your challenges and see those ones we can address in the immediate. And this we'll look at it later. But I'm happy in the sense that even when you seem to be faced with some of those challenges, you still stay afloat. So please keep the flag flying. Tomorrow will be better than today.
All right. Okay, that's Chancellor, and we hope that he would return and with better, better arrangement. Thank you for sticking around, and do keep your dial locked in Uniuyo 100.7 FM and enjoy the rest of our broadcast. My name is Jimmy Johnson. Thank you.
The Vice Chancellor, all members of the University Management, the managing in favor of the Vice Chancellor, the respect of all faculty. Now, the prayers that have already been established. The first meeting at this quarter, the Professor Chancellor, this point, let us give this opportunity for the organization to us. The Dean of
the Vice Chancellor, University of Uniuyo. In fact, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, admin and academic, the registrar, librarian, director of works, bursar, other principal officers of the university, my colleagues, professors, HODs in the Faculty of Arts, my colleagues in the Faculty of Arts. It's a very great day for us in the Faculty of Arts to have here with us our beloved and distinguished Vice Chancellor, who is very many firsts. The first proud alumnus of this university is Vice Chancellor. That's very special. And several other firsts, including the first that has just happened. The first Vice Chancellor of this university to get into the Faculty of Arts-based studio that has been on for many years. So this is you are welcome. Many of you remember very well when I was to come in as dean, I mentioned certain things. I said one of the reasons for my accepting to be interested in that position was the kind of visit we had. You remember I said it?
Yes.
And I told you because I've known him very well. And that if power doesn't change him, then we have a visionary as Vice Chancellor. And let me tell you that so far, so good with him. I have seen that he has still remained a colleague, respectable and respecting that I knew. So today is my very special day, and his team, it's a very privileged one to have first VC alumnus, registrar alumnus, and even the almost alumnus. So it's a very privilege. This is us. Thank you on behalf of this faculty for choosing us among the earliest faculties to visit. As I said earlier, this is a very wise decision because there is no one who gets to your position without going through philosophy, which is in the Faculty of Arts. You must have a doctor of philosophy. So it's a very wise decision. We thank you very much, sir. Very quickly, Faculty of Arts has made a number of tremendous achievements in recent times. As I said earlier, we have a plan to pay a courtesy call on you, and that plan is still in progress, and we will knock on your door for a date very soon for that. But for now, since your presence here is at your own instance, permit us to just mention a few of the things that are really bothering us so much. Some you have already seen physically, then others we will add. We have some problem that cut across all the departments. So we have put those ones. We will not repeat them when we get to specific departments. Number one is the issue of promotion. I have had the privilege of having you preside over a promotion exercise, and I must thank you very much. You try so much to be fair to all manner of people, and you even went the extra mile in some cases to ensure that justice is done. I have said this to my colleagues. However, there is still a big problem, and the problem this is, as you will know, is that of awaiting external reports at the professorial cadre. It's a nagging issue that I think this faculty is the most disadvantaged, because the number of cases awaiting external report is terrible. That was why, sir, I was prompted on that day I met you informally to suggest something which you brilliantly turned on my head. I will revisit it, either here or another time when we meet. But the thing is that is a big issue. In some cases in this faculty, we have persons, in fact, an acting HOD who was due for promotion in 2012 to associate professor. He submitted his papers, but the prima facie thing was not established until 2014, 2 years later. Until today, there has been no report about that matter. We have similar cases. There are quite many. They have become big source in the faculty, and very, 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 very so disturbing. Then the second issue that cuts across all departments is lack of academic staff, teaching staff. Every department that has made a submission has highlighted. In some cases, we have had a loss of close to 20 staff over the period, and none of whom have been replaced. In some cases, we have even had cases where you have people who specialize in few areas, in certain areas, not being available and no replacement. So it's a very big issue in all the faculties. And then we have some departments here that house university-wide courses. For instance, use of English, philosophy, and history. Some of these departments are so stressed that it becomes difficult to meet deadlines sometimes to submit results, because the staff are simply overwhelmed by the numbers they have to handle. Then the other problem is lack of office accommodation. I thank the VC because that wasn't on the schedule, but he kindly and in his nature accepted to go with me into the office of head of foreign languages department. As I pointed out, there's a threat, standing threat from NUC that if they come again and they are taken to that office as that space, as the office of HOD, that alone would disqualify the department. So that situation replicates. If I took you to English, you would see the same thing. Almost all the departments in this faculty have that ugly feature. And we think that the time has come when those issues should be addressed. Then we have the question of lack of lecture halls. Tangentially, sir, my colleague in the Com Art department stressed while in the studio that there is no one lecture hall designated to Faculty of Art, and that is true. So colleagues in this faculty have often had to be tossed about. They've had doors knocked against them in pharmacy, in law, and in all kinds of departments. They treat us as lepers. And meanwhile, we don't think we deserve that kind of treatment as a faculty. We don't have one block that you can say, this is Faculty of Arts block. So it's very terrible, sir. On this note, the faculty feels very strongly, and we are not saying that you must execute it, but if you start thinking about it, we'll clap for you. And that is the possibility of making this faculty the very next to have a space. Yes, that will become a permanent solution to many of these problems. Let us be on the line, because we are the foundation faculty of every university in the world. And we do not see why we should become the last to be given space in that spacious place. And some of our colleagues, some of our alumni have even been showing interest in supporting the development of any such site given to us. We want, in frustration, we even had to agree among ourselves that if we can have space, we would even call some persons, alumni, to help the university so that the building moves fast, and in the process we resolve some of these problems in a somewhat fundamental way. So that's one of the concerns that cut across the whole departments in the faculty. Then we have this peculiar situation where during the last accreditation exercise, the university graciously and duly approved of certain essential equipment for some departments. So we will learn this on the management of the university. But midway, some of this equipment were not actually released, and colleagues, especially heads of departments, had to, in some cases, provide these things from their pockets. And even when they do that, the reform drags so much. In some cases, they just resign to fate and continue managing, going left and right. We don't think that this is very healthy, sir. So we feel that those equipment, the approvals were given, but the equipment were not released. And in some cases, we know that those equipment are even available in the university store. So we urge the VC to kindly look into that. Then we have this other problem. This is a new development. There is a situation in which heads of department, who should be the people recommending people for appointment, because they know, I was here, sir, with due respect to the VC, when in the time of one of the VC sent a request to the department, and the department said, thank you very much, VC. We don't think that we have urgent need for this. And even if we were to have need, we have a better candidate. And the matter ended. We are not insisting that we have to question the powers of the VC, but a strange situation has developed where you stay in your department and you find somebody arriving with a letter of employment. and the process that we think it runs against the traditions of university anywhere in the world, because it's not healthy. So we feel strongly, sir, that the system, the university should look into this situation so that we don't have a situation where you have people who cannot teach. In fact, some are not even teachable themselves, and yet they come around and brandish a letter of appointment. And the implication is that if you don't even engage them, if you throw them out, they lose nothing. They go to their villages, and every month salary runs, because the system that sends them to you has already captured them into the salary system. So we think as a university side, we should look into this kind of situation, especially in the University of Youth. The second point that cuts across all the departments is poor power supply. Poor power supply. Even in this hall, if we look, we'll see that although the bulbs are, some of them are miraculously on, one fan has refused to work because there's no electricity. And today is even healthy. And meanwhile, this is the only faculty hall that we have. So if we have faculty board meeting, you see some colleagues standing outside, some simply stay away for lack of space, especially in this COVID-19 season where we talk of social distancing. So even then, when you come, the few of us that brave the consequences of COVID-19 still don't have the funds to circulate around us. Then we also have a few specific department-specific things. For instance, Department of English complains severely of gross underfunding, because even the OP, out-of-pocket expenditure is not refunded, and the department will have something like 21,000 by way of 21,000 naira by way of student dues for a large department that takes care of is very many programs plus university-wide courses programs. Then that department had a semblance of a language laboratory, which has failed. Now it is a laboratory, it gathers a few books, not lab, and it's not functioning. And this is important for the teaching of courses like phonetics and phonology. So, Department of Foreign Languages, the one you saw, we have this. This, for instance, is the board, moribund interactive board. This board, ever since it was installed, has been idling here. It doesn't work. It is more of just furniture for the eye. So we think that these things are things that we can handle. Linguistics and Nigerian languages we've already seen the computers in that laboratory, and then here again, the HOD had to use money to decorate offices paint offices for professors and associate professors, and also had to even paint the building itself for purposes of accreditation with personal money, which is not enough in any case. Then finally, for that department, there is a special appeal. This is just for the VC and the university to help us. I get a bit emotional about this. This is a university sited in Akwa Ibom State. Right now, as someone involved with languages, the world is moving into indigenous languages because there is a prediction that many of them will go into extinction by a particular year. And we have this language, let me call it Anam Efik Ibido, from my own professional perspective. That's what I will call it. And it is a very important language. For some of you who have traveled, you will see that elsewhere this language is actually studied, and people, African Americans who want to pick names, they pick our names. Yet, in this university, in this state, the support for that language is not coming up. We don't understand why the state government, for instance, should not be made to recruit our products into the system. Every year, like the other time, I had colleagues signing out, they want to go and set questions for JAM, set questions for NECO, Ibibio. And yet, the university cited there, produces people in this language, and the state government does not open its doors to recruit these products to teach this language so that the language will survive among the few others that will survive, so that the language can also take its position among other indigenous languages on the global space. So we feel strongly, sir, that the university should back us up by appealing to state government to recruit the products of our Department of Linguistics and Foreign Languages to encourage, Nigerian languages, to encourage students to even come in and do the program. That's the one way we can help that language to survive, sir. Then Department of Music has need, that department uses a lot of instruments. Each time they come out to perform, they need a lot, even for their practical. They have 2 buildings. Each of them needs a separate power plant. Then if you go there, you'll find that the front door at some point became a meal for termites. Termites ends up the front door. So if you go there, sir, you'll find powder falling on you from above. And that powder was created by termites. Then we need, that department also doesn't have a music studio and no space for musical equipment. And then finally, the department is peculiar, it's close to the ravine. And being close to the ravine, it suffers the problem of flooding. So we feel that if there's landscaping done, that department, the flooding will stop. Then for the Department of Philosophy, it shares in all the general problems, except that it has one peculiar problem that it needs a postgraduate room. It's very, very important. The Department of Theatre Arts, the faculty is very grateful to the university for working out, in fact, for the transformation in terms of studio for that department. Work is in progress. We are very, very happy. Please, can we clap for the university? Yes. Work should not only move faster, because like yesterday we were there, the other day we were there, and commissioners came, people came from outside. And in the past, very many of the people had to stay outside because of, so we feel that the work will be extended up, and besides we have professionals in the department who know what they want. Professors, eventually, people who will help us, so that they keep an eye on how the work is progressing, because it's been done for people, professionals who will use it. And then besides the furnishing, the equipment inside, we feel strongly that since this university has come of age, and that department is very, very, very vibrant, let this equipment that come in there, the gadgets, to let them be state-of-the-art equipment. These are not things that are bought every day. You buy them once, and it takes many years before you change them. Then the office of the dean, thank God, sir, that you didn't stay long. You would have sweated, all of us. So we need for a number of things in that office. One swivel chair for the dean, we don't have. Then we need one executive table for the faculty officer. One reason this thing is coming in is that we don't have a viable living laptop in the whole office of the dean, and none for processing of student matters. So we need a number of laptops, and then we need external hard drive. We also need the uninterrupted power supply UPS in place of the present non-functional one. Then we need quick heal active virus and then 5,000 watt stabilizer, urgent repairs of caving. The ceiling, there's one ceiling there that is almost down. It's like the hanging garden of water. So it's caving in dangerously on everybody who passes. So, and then we need 3 mini-sized flat screen television sets, 1 Go TV decoder, and of course, 2 wall clocks. We need those things. I know that the answer to some of these things will be make petition. So, but we still have to step in. Once more, sir, once more, I will, this is just a summary. In the process of interacting with colleagues, they've been filling some of the gaps where I have been unable to capture, what situations I've been able to capture. I thank you very much for your patience and your team. We are very, very grateful and wish you a wonderful continuation of this exercise, wonderful tenure with God being on your side, and so that in the end we will have one unique team made up of 1 great alumnus or 2 or 3 great alumni that we will say these were the ones whose tenure changed the lot of this university for good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Titi.
Again, it permits me to stand on a physical course. I'd just like to make a kind of additional comments to what my dean has already presented on our behalf. In my department of theater arts, actually most of our needs, most of which brought across the whole department, as already mentioned. But I just like to also point out this. That is our dance studio that we are using at present. 2 times that studio has been worked on. And those 2 times, the contractors will refuse to listen to our inputs. That's why they don't last. Right now, the dance studio is an eyesore. The stage is an eyesore. It needs to be worked upon again. So, since we wouldn't know when we'll be moving to the new one, we appeal that Vice Chancellor and also help us to publish it so that the students can continue to enjoy using that data. In fact, it's even worse than the modern data studio. Even though that one too, the contractor, they won't listen to our inputs. Because once they listen to our inputs, we know what we want, what will last. But why they will not listen? Because they want to do things, use inferior materials and all that, and it will not last. So that has been the situation. The theatre studio, the modern theatre studio is also having its own challenge at present. But I can say that modern studio is an eyesore right now. It's only that it is not here on the campus. I would have wanted that if VC to try to look at it. Then another one is the VC is already aware of the problem. The ceiling of the modern theatre studio is falling. Most ceiling boards need to be replaced. So that is another reminder. I'd like to remind our VC. Thank you, sir.
Closer.
Linguistics and Nigerian languages. This is we have just one major challenge, which is the lab. And from 100 level to 400 level, we have practical courses for all those classes. That's phonetics. And the students, for each of those courses, the population of the students is more than 100. But we don't have functional computers for the students to use. And this also affects the quality of practical courses that the students handle. We have been making quotations, but recently we discovered that the UPS are not functional. And so long as there is no, the light does not pass through on UPS and it passes directly to the CPU, it will affect the computer. So those computers are almost down. Even if they repair it today, it will break again. They have been making series of repairs. The university have been trying to repair those systems. Because those UPS are not functional, once this epileptic light enters, it will affect the computer. Please, that is my appeal. That you should please send somebody to come and help us again to do the quotations. 10 computers were approved during the accreditation. But when they went to the market from the procurement center, they said because we gave were too low. The university approved 800,000 naira, so they had not been able to give us those computers because the cost we gave them was below the standard. Thanks for listening.
The registrar of the Librarian, the dean, faculty of arts, the vice dean, elder of us, deputy registrar in charge of this office. Let me recognize the immediate past dean of the faculty. I thought I saw immediate past BBC Academy here.
Yes.
Where is he?
Professor Binadu.
I know. Okay, that's all right. Okay. It's understood. The basic. Distinguished members of Faculty of Arts. A very good afternoon to all of us. Are we in the afternoon? Still morning. Morning. Let me first and foremost thank God for helping us to be here with us. I want to recognize one thing, that you are all here present. It means you love your faculty, you respect their dean. Also extend same to management that said you were coming. We cannot take that one for granted. So we appreciate you very well for that timely response. Let me also add that I did not come here as somebody whose name is Thomas. That if I see, unless I see, I won't believe. No, I didn't come that way. I came here to attend some of those things our area suspected. You know, I used to remind a lot the Faculty of Arts. But don't ask me to explain why and how. But you know. I know that you should visit that a lot. And the rest of you. So I have an idea of what constitutes their problems. But it was also good to say it by yourself so that what I suspected can be affirmed. Alright, so I thank you so much for all your best. I am sure there are some achievements that you have made, one of which the unity that I've said is intact in the Faculty of Arts. So please keep the unity intact. And then, because it's only through unity, togetherness, oneness of purpose that we can move forward. The dean has chronicled the challenges. At the point I was about asking, is he historian? I suddenly remember that history is the Faculty of Arts, so I couldn't ask again. And I've also asked you, I have not asked him. He has given order and said there are many other specifics to department to units, which I think were some of you wanted to also add some flex. So that because of time, I couldn't take all. But I do know that there are many other ways to kill the rats. You can poison, you can set trap, and many other ways. You can even follow physical and kill. So if you cannot take those comments right away here, please channel them through HOD and then to the dean. We'll address them. But more importantly, it's also on record that you are going to come for courtesy call. Isn't also? Yes. So what we cannot cover today, we'll cover another day. Thanks so very much for the understanding. Let me talk about promotions. Basically, the professor can. Well, I don't think anybody or somebody at my age and the status will not know the value, the importance of promotion. In fact, the way I used to describe, I still describe promotion into professor care is that it's a tonic. I mentioned it when we were with the Health College of Health Science. I said, I know a professor who for quite some time and waited for his promotion. When he went, and at the point he was not interested in anything, give him or her. I'm saying give him or her. I don't want you to know whether it's a man or a woman. Student is surprised. And when they present, are you okay to go and die? For that same lecturer, today, after he or she has been pronounced a professor, we'll call students, am I going to teach you this year? Meaning that it's now a happy person. So I'm conscious of it. But like we say, and rightly so, that Rome was not built in a day. There's no want to pronounce all as they go, or in one day, or even in 1 week, or even 1 month. Because these things are supposed to be sent out for good to access. We are doing our best. Because my intention is to clear the backlog. That's my intention. Though at times I feel within me when I see some of them return negative. Because somebody who was raised, and that's in me, suddenly dashed. By the time when they present them by Toria, but when you see, you know, it's voluminous, I will say, oh, thank you for that this one has returned. And you open to see negative. And they will tell you, if you want to promote the person, promote, but this is our own opinion. You cannot. Because somebody must make that recommendation. So all I can assure is that we will not leave any stone unturned concerning promotion in the university. It's paramount to us because we must make people to learn to be a little more committed. And one of the ways to do it is to ensure that you release or you announce promotions. So please, bear with us, knowing fully well that it cannot be the same always. The day while talking addressed that somebody was was meant for president 2012 and it was only done 2014 and up till now, about 6 years or so after. He's still in the waiting game. But thank God for that change of a mode of announcement, of change, modification of the announcement, where we need to wait till December. Usually waiting game till December. But now at least we have been given the power to announce. And then maybe for the council to ratify later. It's a palliative measure. If you announce, you are and you are. So as we set out and they come in, we will not keep people to announce. And faculty of agri, did I say agri? I don't know why agri. Faculty of arts. Anyway, the two start with the A. That's why I'm here. Faculty of arts cannot be relegated to the background. Not on this. Not for a faculty that is housing the Department of Philosophy. Not at all. So we'll do all we can to ensure that everybody is gathered along. And if we are able to clear this backlog, if we have a thought, it will be very minimal. Which also explains why we have to move from October to September. Now from December to January. Because even after you promote, you still have to run to another problem of promotion areas. We want to see how we can go away with all those things. So not too long, I believe God and strongly should. I'm sure they did. But I also have God to tell you people, even when I'm not there, that that thing we have put forward to them is absolutely act. I know it will be so. So please don't be too discouraged. Push on. And we talked about teaching staff, the staff strength. The value going to say in current decision, in the sense that almost all the faculties, in fact all, are affected by this. Yes, because before now we used to get sabbatical staff, adjuncts, we used to get contracts. Now IPSA says no adjuncts, no contract, no sabbatical. in quotes, no sabbatical. Because if you bring somebody on sabbatical and the person is not paid throughout the state, so what is the essence of practical? I mean, of sabbatical. That's why they have created opportunity for private school, private universities to take start. Friendly, you know, in those days nobody was very willing to go for sabbatical leave in the private university, but now we're up for it because that's the only way to go. And perhaps also state universities that we know, like in America, it's the only one. So, but we have made some inputs to those concerned, including the presidential decision panel that is on ground. That may not be the best. That there are some peculiarities concerning the university that FPIS may not be able to address. But having said that, we'll try to take some steps to see what we can do to feel, because for some discipline, some areas of specialization, they just nobody. That we know, not only in arts. So we'll try to see whether our appeal will go through and we see what we can do. Office accommodation, lecture hall, that one is also more or less a different decision for all faculties and all the departments. Well, I don't want to give assurances, but all I'm saying is that if we're able to come up with a complete some of the buildings we have at time, it will ease us rapidly. Moreover, our intention is to move all the departments. That's my own. All the faculties to the permanent side, to the main campus. That's my intention. Over a period, special movements. And so we have even started to announce to you that we have faculty of arts in mind by approving construction of a dance theater. Asked you, is it also?
Yes.
In the main campus. It's a way to tell you, get ready, and you believe it. So as we progress in terms of being able to put some buildings in place, we will continue to move. If we were lucky to approve faculty of arts, faculty of law, though some of those places will be taken over by another faculty. If we move, what do you call this, College of Health Sciences to where they should be, where we want them to be, we will take it over. So what am I saying? All I'm saying is that we never lose track of what we want to do. We are focused. So what we should pray for is for funds to come. You know, when you talk about funds, it's from those who are supposed to support us. Internally generated revenue, it's not you cannot give some of those things we want you to give. But we have thrown our requests here and everywhere. That's what we have done. Trying to take on to this, to that, whichever one we can harvest at the end, provided we have what we want. So I'm believing God that not too long from now, some of those things we have suspected and we want to do, which we have actually taken steps to do, will come to fruition, so that people will be happy at the end of the please don't, because of the office and the calculation and lecture hall, be unduly discouraged. I am quite sympathetic about the office I saw. That's linguistic and foreign language. Yes. It's a cubicle. That's why I said I didn't come as a Thomas, because I have an idea of it. I think religion is also in the similar. I know more about
History. In fact, it's a uniform.
Yes, it is. And where I'm particularly know what is that it's under the staircase. You see? Where people march on every day. I know God will help us, there's no doubt about it. So we try and see what we can do to ease out. But even some of those offices are not actually not good for even to serve as staff offices. No. But we're compared because of circumstances we find ourselves. And the peculiarity of how we started, from college education to this, to that. But it will be over one day, because the determination is there to move faculties to the main campus. Determination is there. So it may not happen in one year, but eventually it will happen. And my prayer is that it happen before I leave office. So let me particularly talk about the radio studio that I saw. Well, I am entering that place for the first time. And when we were students in this place, in the University of Cultural Skills, there was someone who specialized in fine and industrial arts. A Ghanaian whose name was Mr. Edward Agotia. You can remember?
Yeah. Yes,
yes, he was the one that taught us arts appreciation under GAS then. He constructed a den somewhere here. And then called mushroom, the pro. Do we see that reason? Is it still there? It's not there. But at least some of us saw it now. I did wood with mushroom, very much. And so when we asked him, what is the essence of this? He was one of those convocation days. He told us that he was a way of demonstrating that even in a dead wood, life can come out of it. What am I saying? I'm saying that even when the studio that we have is the way it is, you still bring us some light. So I commend you for this. Now, the HOD of the communication arts, I'm sure is full of hope that now that we are here, when we go back, things will not be the same. HOD. When I saw you, I thought it was a man that would have come now. When I look at you, I say, oh, this one is my own now. You know, mostly because today is a Friday. I thought it was a man that was. So definitely what I want and through you is to give me full and detailed report about that too. Because like Mr. Abraham told us that even in the late wood, that can come out of it. I believe that can come out of that too. And let me also say this. I attended the JPEP public board meeting last 2 weeks in Lagos. And they said they want to advertise and create awareness for people to know that such programs exist. And they said, go advertise in your local radio. Particularly, or preferably, your university radio and all that. I don't know whether you were listening to or somebody. Who manages the radio? Okay, is there managing it there? Not so. And I couldn't say yes at the go because I wasn't too sure whether it's still functional. I wasn't too sure. So, but I know what to do in this case. That's why I need full, comprehensive, what again? Can I describe it? Detail, what again? So let's have it. Let's break them into phases. Each cannot do all that they do. And see how we can fix it. I don't know whether we can, well, people that tune to radio, whether they can hear it outside. You don't hear it outside.
Sir, you can hear us from the trenches of the Cotton and back.
Okay. Good. So, it should be one of our things we can point to, anything we can do. Even if we have stuff, say, come and see our studio. Somebody should be able to, like you tried to do for me this morning, even though you didn't tell me. I'm coming in and say you are here, you can go. We are talking. Bring our guest. Of this stuff, okay, let's visit our studio. I say, okay, what may be have for us? You know, so we must do something. So we need to know what is wrong, what has gone wrong, and then also suggestion on what we think we should do. What equipment we have, and which one we need to buy. If they were equipment before, where are they? Very important. If they were equipment before, where are they? Did they go back? If they went back, what went wrong? Were they stolen? Who stole them? National, is it not so? Start looking for. Because for me, it's better to buy an act than to buy to replace. I don't like it that way. So please, my niece, you know and give us the comprehensive report on that. So that we can perhaps move from there. I've already talked about the fact that we want you to move to the main campus as soon as possible. But they have raised my hopes that there are some alumni members that are willing to donate. And it's not strange. We have seen what the Department of Economics, very person also, they are very fun. In fact, I speak, one of our own, Dr. Gloria, is bringing one to upgrade. They brought me the design. We have shown them the land. That's the way to go. I was in Ogun 2 days ago, and I discovered that the registrar of that college is an alumni of this place. And then, what course? He said, English. I said, do you know my Oga? He said, I said, Professor Oshie. I said, yes, he just me. I left 1990. I said, give me your number. So come and get that number. So that we can get more. So that we can perhaps also ask her, do some contribution to see if we can deal one or two things, or donate one or two things to faculty of arts where you have the opportunity to pass through. Equipment, lack of it, is it lack of it or inadequate? I don't like the word lack. Lack means that you are slow one, or means you are right there at the 0 level. But if it is inadequate, if it is better, it's a bit encouraging. No, inadequate is better. Alright, so you said that some of them are not there, some were approved and were. What is required is to release them in the sense that they are in the store. I think somebody mentioned to Dr. Oku says so. So if you know about some of those things, do a letter to us. Because you may not know that what you are looking for is so good, maybe you are sure. So we can cause them to release those ones. And I want to assure, on behalf of management, that we will do all we can to replace, to add to. I know the vice team, you are in music. I saw you are listening the other time. You want to tune many keyboards, or what do you call that?
Tuning of piano.
A piano. I wanted to say, we're aware of it. We use music department almost every day and everywhere. In every lecture they will be there. God forbid, but let me say, commendation service is not so. They are there. Even though they are not too happy, but they still do their hands like this to show that they are sick. So they need all this attention higher. So we are conscious of it. But I said earlier, we may not buy all as they go. But let's just show sign that if we have more, we'll buy. So I directed that those ones, I think there were 4 or 5 requests.
That tuning the piano, right?
Oh, that tuning?
Yes.
You didn't say so now. You all you said was challenge.
No,
You didn't say.
don't make that point.
Oh, you saw you like better point. Okay, if you have better point, you have said that we have done something already. So it was a way of damning to also say that we have some positive that we have done for our end. We talk about the power supply. Power supply. Okay. They knew that I was about to say something about it. That's why
Seeing is believing.
I know, but I'm still not Thomas. Well, actually, I'm suspecting those people behind. But more importantly, let me say that power has been a challenge to all of us, all of us here in this country. There's no doubt about that. But it becomes a more serious challenge, a more challenging moment for us in the university, and we need to try to do certain things. Well, I don't know. You are there. Are you hearing the lightning? And they are taking the light before, you are buried before. Alright, see what you can do for me, if it was possible to say, okay, between this hour to this hour, they are short lights. So that somebody also can fine-tune himself and fit into that those hours. I love I'm talking. So look at that possibility and let me have it. So let's see if we can now on issue of appointments of staff, not necessarily not only lecturers. I have heard what they have said, what they didn't say. Well, it came up in the Senate, 2 of us. It also came up, in fact, some people sending emails to panel. They have raised it and they have also asked us questions on this. And we explained. But you see, in agriculture, they say animal we call pig. I think we all know pig. A young one, we call them piglets. We were told that the piglets asked the mom, if I may say, why is your man this way? Why is your man pointing to the ground? And the mother said, don't worry, when you grow up, you will. Let me leave it there. I won't go beyond that. Am I talking? Okay. Let's leave it there. So, we are also talking about specific things within the department, which give an opportunity, most, and if not all of us. Dr. Arnold, I'm seeing you from afar. I know you are my friend. Because I saw the hand on the wall, I thought you were the one that put up the light. All right, well done, eh? We will do our best to look at those specific things that we mentioned concerning this office, concerning families. In fact, the case is being more sympathetic, a little more. Looking for something as well as a laptop, a chair that can go to one side or the other. I think those ones we can pick them up. Restaurant, please take note, let's see what we can do for the day. The day, when we finish doing something for you, we'll also do for your departments. Those specific things. I remember Dr. Mukulu had talked about dance studio and all that, and non-involvement of end users. That's what you said, that's the summary of what you were saying. In the construction of these orders. We have taken note of this. We'll encourage the contractor to get involved because they want to use them. You know. So I want to thank you so much, hoping that I've addressed all that you addressed. But if I cannot recall all, I think with you that not too long from now, you'll be there with us for courtesy call. Is it not so?
Yes.
So keep your gunpowder dry so that when it's time you can fire. So I want to thank you so very much. Our senior professors in front. Those who can direct, don't say this way or that way. And the one that caused computer to speak illegal. And then the 81st inaugural. Are you there? See how before. Well done. And my prof. Yes, I can see all of you. So I want to thank you so very much for your support. Pray for us. Just the way we pray. I pray and cover all of us every everyone. Every week and every day. To pray. Because if it is well with you, it's well with the university. I need to count on you for support for your suggestion. Remember that I'm a human being, I'm just one person, or we are human being right up here. Yes, management. But good suggestion, observation, comment can come from you that will help to build the system. Am I right? Yes. So don't feel bad to make suggestion. Don't feel bad to make comments. Provide it in a very decent manner. It doesn't involve running down people on the station or whatever. I know that those who want to do that are not here. Are they here? Yeah. They are not here. I look at the person, they are not there. They are not here. So I want to thank you so very much for opening the doors. I did. For us to come in. I don't know that I know that I will come back here. I'll come back here another day, another year, another month. Because that is my style to visit. When you visit, you go visit. Thank you so very much for listening and God bless you in Jesus' name.
Najo, former Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic, Professor Antonio Asian, immediate past Dean, Professor Imelda, that's the 81st, is also here. Uniuyo is also here. Professor Urwa. Professor, it's a best icon, sorry, it's a best icon. We have Professor Peter. Lady Moore is the faculty officer. He was a very important head and also the chair of Dr. Sigo. As a student, I used to pay you very much. So I came here. You know us? Yes. Let's call on Professor Antonia.
Permit me to stand on the existing protocol. On behalf of the Dean of the Faculty, Professor Joseph Boucher, and all the heads of departments and the entire staff of the Faculty of Arts, I'm very pleased to tell you that we as a faculty, we are very happy for this very significant visit that you have made to our faculty. And my colleagues, I want to tell you that I have known the Vice Chancellor as far back as the 80s, when both of us were here as students in Uniqlo days. He's a man that when he talks, he does what he says. And then we went back to the University of Ibadan for our postgraduate studies and we're together. So I think I'm the most qualified to talk about him. Because I know that what he has told us about our faculty is going to do it. So thank you very much, sir, because I know that you do all these things within your power. But just permit me to add one request, sir. Still about promotion. I think if many of our colleagues know their status, whether their external assessment is positive, it's negative, it helps them to know the status. But what happens is that they just don't know anything, and it becomes very difficult to say whether it has been sent out or whether it has come back negative. So I'm just adding to the list of requests that information might be important for our colleagues, maybe through the dean, so that they will know how to improve on their publications for better output. But on the whole, I want to thank you so very much and all the management staff for coming to us. I always want to also thank our own dean because he has articulated all our requests so very well. The vice dean and all the heads of departments. Thank you very much, sir. I know that very soon, faculty are about to be flying and our requests have been well taken, noted of. Thank you very much, sir. We are grateful.
I'm taking. Thank you.